These rolling acres, these striking buildings, are the sort of corporate campus you see everywhere in Silicon Valley, California. But this is Bangalore in southern India. And this is one of the companies who've changed the way the whole world thinks about India. The co-founder of the computing giant Infosys, Narayana Murthy, is one of the leading lights of this transformation. But it wasn't just India that changed. Mr. Murthy was a communist in his youth, but he had a lightning conversion to capitalism while crossing a border into Bulgaria.
I was just talking to a girl, and there was a boy who was sitting next to her, and for some reason the girl didn't speak to him, and he got upset and brought the police and said these two are plotting against the wonderful nation of Bulgaria or something like that. And therefore I was put in a room 8 foot by 8 foot without food or water for about 72 hours, and then I was put on a freight train to Istanbul, and they finally said, you are from a friendly country called India, and that's why we are letting you go. And then I said, if this system treats friends like this, I don't want to be part of this system. And that's when I realized that the only way countries like India can solve the problem of poverty is by entrepreneurship.
A moment of revelation changed you from left to right?
Absolutely. Well, let's put it this way. I had already started changing my views about leftism and communism, but this was the lost nail in the coffin, and that's what led to the founding of Infosys.
Infosys is now one of the largest information technology companies of all, with hundreds of the biggest corporations in the world as clients. It employs more than 125,000 people round the globe, but it began with a team of just 7 software experts in the early 1980s. You had 6 colleagues, the founding fathers. Were you all computer techies?
Yes, they all worked with me. They were much junior to me at a company called PCS in Mumbai.
And you brought the team together to do what?
There was a huge opportunity for software to be developed for corporations because hardware had become cheaper. And we realized that in India there were lots of engineers who did not have job opportunities. Therefore, we said, why don't we build a company that focuses on developing bespoke software applications for customers in developed nations.
You started the company and you had a hard time because India was not open to the outside world, was it?
Those days, the government was very business unfriendly. It took us a year to get a telephone connection. We used to have a joke, and that is, half the people in the country are waiting for a telephone, the other half are waiting for a dial tone. And second, it took us 3 years to get a license to import a computer.
And that was what you were about. You needed a computer to do the job you were doing.
Absolutely. So the environment was extremely business unfriendly. But then we said, look, there is a huge global opportunity, and therefore we should stick with it. We stuck with it, and God has been kind to us.
You had a little money behind you, your wife's money, didn't you?
Yeah, we just put together 10,000 rupees or about $250, not much.
To start the company?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was enough to keep you going for about 2 months, was it?
No less than 2 months. But we worked a good deal with our first customer. He said, look, I will give you an advance for a couple of months, and then every month I'll pay you on time.
How plausible was your pitch when you went to American companies and said, we can do your software and stuff for you, and we're a long way away from home, and you don't know very much about us?
Well, it was extremely difficult in the beginning, because at that point in time, the general belief in the US or amongst the software experts was that software could not be developed even from the next building. It had to be in the same building. And therefore, when we went to them and said we would develop software 8,000 miles away, they were very nice. They smiled at us. They gave us a cup of tea and then said, don't call us, we'll call you. That kind of stuff.
Because developing software was becoming to be seen as the software was at the heart of what the corporation was, of course.
Absolutely.
And therefore, how could you possibly understand them like they understood themselves?
That's right.
That was the big change in confidence you had to make.
Oh, absolutely. It was very tough in the beginning. Also remember, we had very little money. I mean, we stayed in very inexpensive hotels. Sometimes we walked. We didn't have any cars. Sometimes we took buses. Sometimes we walked.
I shall get my violin out in a minute. Anyway, it was tough times.
It was tough.
When did you begin to know that the path you'd embarked on was going to work as a proper, fully fledged business? When did it take off?
When we had the economic reforms in 1991. That's when we realized that we were going to, accelerate. The government was no more an inhibitor to our progress. Government was no more a factor in making corporate decisions. Market became the determinant, as it should be.
This is a mature company. Are you now slowing down? Are you feeling your age?
I wouldn't say that. We continue to be the most profitable software company in our industry, and I see lots of smart people in the company, people who are capable of handling all the complex challenges that we face. So I don't see any issue.
But you can't keep on growing like this ad infinitum, can you?
No,
unless you get into completely different things.
We have already introduced lots of new services, and 50% of our revenue is coming from 5 or 6 new services that we introduced in the last 5 years, and therefore I think we'll continue to metamorphosize because of our innovation.
I have a slightly indelicate question. I once read somewhere that when you go home in the evenings, you clean the lavatory at home. Is that right?
Yes, I do that. Well,
to show your humility, or because it needs cleaning, or what?
No. You see, we have a caste system in India where the so-called lowest caste was a set of people who cleaned the toilets. And my father believed that caste system is the wrong one. And therefore, he made all of us clean our toilets in the house. And that habit has continued. And I want my children to do that. And the best way to make them do is if you did it yourself.
So it's quite a profound question, actually.
Thank you.
Not indelicate at all?
No, not at all.